Right, so I'll just start with, right up the bat, some of the reports out last week about my looking for a buyout and trying to leave here and all that is just categorically false. There's zero truth to any of that. Glad I'm here. We're working towards, our goals and the process. Had great support from Chancellor Roberts, Bubba, Steve, and so forth. Mike and Marty. It's been, those people have all been great, and I appreciate all their help and everything. And we just believe very much in the process. I think Bill Walsh said, the score will take care of itself, and I've always believed that. You just got to keep working and grinding away, and that's exactly what we're doing. So, we had a good week last week on the field. A lot of improvement individually, both physically and from a football fundamental standpoint, and by units, obviously, guys that work together, offensive line, DBs, punt team, and so forth. So we're a team of teams, and all those teams are all striving to be the very best that they can in the unit that they represent. So looking forward to really turn our focus full speed ahead here towards Cal. This is a program that has some similarities to us. I've certainly coached against and worked with Coach Rivera, Ron Rivera out there as the general manager. Coach Wilcox is a very good defensive coach. They do an excellent job, and they've had some impressive games this year. It's a big win for them against BC. Some of their key players, stepped up for them and made some impressive plays. They have some good skilled players. Certainly, Sagapulu, their quarterback, is having a good year. As a freshman, they got some big receivers. De Jesus is an explosive returner and kind of slot receiver. He does a lot of things for them. And then defensively, they have a couple of really good pass rushers and good secondary players as well. They made some big plays for them. In their wins. Also mentioned Plummer's another big receivers. Probably one of the best special teams players we'll see this year. He's an excellent player in coverage and it's gonna be a really hard guy to block. So it's a big challenge for us here. Going across the country to play a good football team and a team that I know is very well coached and they do a lot of things fundamentally well that that we have to be ready for. So. Excited to get back on the field yesterday, and again today here as we, like I said, dive all the way into these guys before we hit the road on Thursday to head out to the West Coast. Excited for the week and the challenge.
We'll open it up here for a moment.
Andrew Jones, starting on 24/7. What was the reason behind the statement you put out last Wednesday, and was it your idea to put the statement out?
Yeah, just for clarification, there was a lot of things some things that were reported that were just, factually totally inaccurate, and so I'll make sure to clear those up.
And it was your idea to put it out because Bubba also released the statement at the same time. Is it something that?
Yeah, it was a joint. Yeah, it was joint. Yes.
Second row left, Coach.
Hey, Coach Walter, WRL. Last week, myself, others around the country reported that there was divided locker room, culture issues within the program. What do you have to say to the claims that people are making in this building and around this program?
Yeah, I'm with all these people every day, coaches, players on the field. Our guys work hard. They have a great attitude, great energy, and we've shown a lot of improvement. We've made a lot of improvement. I think that's exciting for all of us to see. Certainly for the individual players to see it, in the units that they work with. So I don't know what kind of perspective some of those people have that are saying that, but I think anybody that's around it on a daily basis would see that. I'm sure the players all see the improvement they're making as this coaching staff.
Respectfully, though, like last game was 28-3 at the first quarter. People clearing out after halftime. Statistically, UNC has gone from a perennial bowl contender to statistically one of the worst teams in college football right now. And people in this building are upset. Fans are upset. The people that brought you here stuck their necks out to bring you here. Can you acknowledge, you're telling me that you believe this process is working?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a learning curve. We're all on it together, but we're making a lot of progress, and you know, the process will eventually produce the results that we want to produce, like they have everywhere else I've been. So I'm very confident in that. Players are working hard. They're getting better, and we're going to continue to do that and improve.
Do you expect any changes to be made among the coaching staff or just the migrant program?
Yeah, we're going to do everything we can every day to continue to improve. That's what we do.
Front row on the right, your coach.
No, I stop at Tar Heels 24/7. All things considered, how much, I guess, do you see this program? Is it in a rebuild, or I guess, what is your vision for the program right now? Is it a rebuild?
It's yeah. Again, where we are right now is where we are, and we're working hard every day to to get better, and we're getting better. Obviously, there are other components to it in terms of recruiting and so forth that will all come into play later. But right now, our team is committed to having its best week of practice, going out there and playing well against Cal. We're 2-3, and we're trying to get back on track, and that's what we're working to do.
Right next to you, coach.
Hey, Coach Grant Sasser, Tar Heels on the side. What measures are you taking to ensure the team remains united despite all the distractions going around the program?
Yeah. Well, again, what I see out there every day is guys ready to practice, practicing hard, preparing well, and getting better. I think the team is obviously we're all a little frustrated in the results, but the only thing we can do is continue to work and improve, and that's what we're doing. Guys have a good attitude. They're in here working every day, and as I said, we've made a ton of progress, both physically, in our strength, speed, stamina, all those things, and in terms of our execution on the field. But obviously got off to a slow start against Clemson, and it's not the way to win, but we will hopefully play better and at the beginning of the game stay competitive and start winning.
And throughout the week, what have you seen from the players' reactions to everything, and how do you get them to kind of manage all that? Because I know college kids are different from professional athletes, and is there a change in approach in how you do that?
Yeah, what I see is what I see. I'm just telling you what I see. Our team comes in, they work hard, they're well prepared, they go out there and practice hard, and they get better. So that's what we're going to keep doing. That's all I can tell you.
Center, third row, coach.
David Dale with ESPN. Obviously, we've had market success at the NFL level and wanted to bring a lot of that experience to this program, but there is a much different landscape within college football than the NFL. Do you feel like you've made some mistakes and just some assumptions maybe that you made early that you wish you could kind of go back and change now, or things that you'll do different as you move forward than when you first got here?
Yeah, we evaluate everything we do on a regular basis, whether it be weekly or at the end of spring football or at the end of a recruiting cycle or whatever it is, mid-season here, and so forth. So we're always looking to improve, more self-analysis, and also analysis of the team and the program, what we can do better. But we're always looking to get better. Like that will never change. It's always been that way for me. So.
Is there anything specific from your evaluations thus far that you say, like, all right, we probably didn't have that exactly how we wanted?
Honestly, I've never had a season or a week or a game where that wasn't the case. There are always things we can do better. There's always things that we are trying to find a better way or a more efficient way to do it. So that will never change.
Left, second row, Brian.
Yeah, Bill, Brian Murphy with WRL. I know Michael's here, but the process of evaluating talent and bringing talent into the program, there's been a lot of stories about that process, especially at the beginning, before the spring portal. Do you get a sense that the way you guys are putting this team together needs to change as we move forward? I know you've talked about bringing in 4 new players, but that transition from pro to college and
Come back before the spring portal, going back to
yeah,
December.
70 new players. There's been reports.
Yeah, look, when we got here, we had 3 defensive linemen. I mean, you can't practice with 3 defensive linemen. We went out and signed a lot of players. We signed players who didn't have offers, or the offers that they didn't want, that were still, that it kind of, let's call it, slid through the cracks in terms of the recruiting process. We signed players in the transfer portal that were available. We were late in the running on a lot of them. We were late on it in relationships. We were late on it in contacts, and we ran out of time. We did the best we could. I think Michael and his staff did a great job of upgrading the roster, and then it was upgraded again in the spring after spring ball. And our football team's a lot better than what it was at the end of spring ball. I can tell you that. I think that in terms of the opportunities we had, could we have done some things, going after some different players or whatever? I'd say we got the ones that we got, and there were others that we were after that we didn't get. But when you come in late on the recruiting end and on the portal end, we had a better chance in the second portal than we did in the first portal. And I think the results of that, speak for themselves. Those are some of our best players, so.
Is that one area you think you'll change the way you do business moving forward?
Well, I think we'll take advantage of every opportunity we have to improve the team, whether that's in the recruiting or whether it's in transfer, or most importantly, in developing the players that are here. Like that, this is a developmental program, like every program is that I've ever been a part of. The idea is to get our players and get them better, get the best ones we can, and then the ones that are here, work hard, coach them, and let them improve. But in terms of bringing in new players, I would say based on what the roster was when we got here, I think we did the best that we could, but it would have been better. We did the best we could.
Right next to him, Coach.
Coach Chris Lee from WRL, you mentioned a couple times the improvements and progress that the team's made. I just want to know what are those improvements specifically, and how do you expect that to play out? How do you grade that for this Friday night challenge?
Yeah, well, look, again, everybody's most interested in the final score, and I'm at the top of that list. But again, it's a process, Coach Saban's talked about it, Bill Walsh has talked about it, I've talked about it. You build a culture, you build a program, and eventually the results will, they'll come. So when will that happen? Hopefully as soon as possible. But, I saw that in Cleveland, I saw it with the Giants, I saw it certainly in New England. That's what it was. And so when we're at that position, when we're working hard to get there, we'll see when that is, then we'll all know. So, that's the best I could say. I could put a timetable on it. I'd say revisionist history is not, it is what it is. We looked at what we did, or sort of some things we could do better going forward. Sure, of course. Just like anytime you go through something a second time. But, again, from where the team was when we got here to where it is now, we made tremendous improvements in our speed, our strength, our explosiveness, with really relatively few injuries. Very few, to be honest with you. And so, therefore, those players will improve, and they've improved on a football field. And there'll be a score change at some point here, hopefully this weekend.
Front row left.
Bill Adamsmith, Inside Carolina. Some of the discontent that's been swirling about has been aimed at Mike Lombardi. I'm wondering if, given that, have you all gone back and tried to revisit the way you're communicating with the players in this program, the recruits? To what extent have you all maybe sat down and talked about your communication with the players?
We talk about it all the time, and we talk to the recruits all the time. Mike talks to the recruits and their families and their parents on a, I would say, weekly basis. We talk to the recruits every week. As a staff, we call our recruits, our commits, some other players who are still, let's say, in some degree of not committed. We do that on a regular basis. So, not really sure what exactly you're referring to. We can't do it full time because we're trying to coach team, get ready for games. But every single week we talk to our commits and other recruits, both in 26, 27, and in some cases in 28 classes. I was out this weekend. I saw a number of players, a couple high school games, and then 2 weekends before, where I saw players who had made commitments to us, and other players, I said, who were in some state of decision making, let's call it. And so we're all active doing it. The coaches are active, but as far as the phone call and the communication with our players and our recruits and their parents and their coaches, we do a lot of that. And we've had numerous kids. I'd say I don't know the exact number, but I'd say over half have been at our 3 home games this year. So, and there's more coming, in our subsequent home games that are following here. So, those kids have already made commitments to be here, including, as I said, some players who are still undecided. So.
Front row center, Coach.
Bill, Rob Ashley, Fayetteville Observer. As you try to get some positive traction with this group on the field in games, is there any particular experience or something with a former team that you've gone back to try to help these guys navigate where they are and try to get some momentum moving forward?
Yeah, look, biggest thing for our players is to continue doing what they're doing. They see the results, they see the improvement. They're buying in as they should because they've got a lot to show for it. We don't have to show for it on the scoreboard on the field yet, but again, that'll come. And I've been involved in a lot of programs. Again, the ones I've already mentioned, and particularly the Giants, Cleveland, New England, where things started and where they ended up were, you know, were honestly where they should go and what you should expect. So it didn't always happen the first year. In fact, it didn't happen in any of the first years, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to build and establish our culture and establish our work ethic and our commitment to improvement to win, and our commitment to winning. So that's what it is. That's what it's always going to be.
Third row on the left, coach.
The red marks we had about a week and a half ago, Michael sent a letter to a bunch of donors expressing patience, trust the process. What was sort of the intent behind that letter? Was the message you were hoping to convey to the people involved?
Yeah, again, I think Michael's done a great job of keeping the people close to the Carolina program up to date in what we're doing, what our process is, what our progress is. They've reached out to help, how they can help, and what the relationships are, you know, how all that comes together. There are a number of things we have going on, and our alumni and our donors and our supporters have been very supportive, you know, as the people here internally, as I said, you know, Bubba, Steve, Chancellor Roberts, so forth. Like whether it's been academics, facilities, you know, recruiting and so forth. I mean, it's, you know, we're all working together, we're all learning together, and you know, our team is our team, and you know, I like our team. I'm confident in our team. We've made a lot of progress. You know, right now, unfortunately, the scoreboard doesn't reflect that, but I'm very confident that it will.
Right next to him, coach.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby Swanson with the News Observer. Coach, just what, if any, conversations have you had with any trustees, anybody affiliated with UNC outside of the athletic department about the current direction of the program?
Yeah, again, I've had conversations with, you know, again, people inside, and I would consider those people, you know, part of our program because they're very supportive of it. But yeah, and all those conversations are really private. I'm going to share private conversations publicly, but we respect that.
Back row standing on the right.
Bill Sarahom, CBS 17. After Caleb decided to retire last week, can you tell us about any conversations that you guys may have had where he ultimately decided to come to that conclusion?
You know, I don't want to speak for him on that, you know, so I won't. I think it was a decision that he had contemplated for a while, and he made the decision. After he made it, he and I talked, and we had a great conversation. And again, I've had this conversation with many athletes in my career, and you know, we talked about it and said, you know, look, I appreciate everything that Caleb did for our program. He came in, he worked extremely hard. He dealt with some things in the past from an injury standpoint. He was basically healthy. I think he only missed 2 or 3 days the entire time he was here. He trained very hard. He thanked me for all the things that I did for him. I thanked him for the contributions and the work ethic and leadership he gave the team. And, you know, for him it was time. And so I respect that. And so I wanted to make sure that I complimented him for what he did. And, you know, he made his statement based on his experience at Carolina, not just this year, but his entire career. So that's how that came about.
Second row on the left, coach.
Bill, can I ask you the status of three individuals associated with the program? First, the status of Coach Hawkins, where that investigation stands, where you might go.
Yeah, that's you know, being handled internally. It's being looked at and reviewed, and I really don't want to comment on it because I'm not reviewing it.
Quarterback Gio Lopez was involved in a car accident before the season opener. I know he was taken to the hospital. Did that play any role in his health early here in the season, and what is his status moving forward?
No, he didn't miss any practice time, and he was healthy to do everything that we asked him to do.
And then Thaddeus Dixon suffered an injury that someone said could be a long-term injury in the last game against Clemson. Do you have any update on his status? He's been
He won't be. Yes, he won't be available this week. You know, he'll be at least a couple more weeks. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to turn out. We'll just take it day by day or week by week here for a couple weeks and see. But you know, that was certainly one of our best players. Trained very hard. Was one of our team captains. Gave a lot of leadership to the team. Is one of our, again, most experienced and oldest players. Played a lot of football, seen a lot of football. So it's a tough injury for him, especially kind of a non-contact. You know, when he landed, it kind of hit in a weird place, and so it's not like I don't say normal injuries, but it's kind of different. And I've seen him, I've talked to him, he's, you know, he's a great competitor, he's already bouncing back, and we'll see what happens.
Third row on the right here, coach.
Bill, Brian Ryan, the Daily Courier. 5 games in, is this where you expected things to be? Is this process at kind of a year, are you going to take longer?
Yeah, I never have expectations. My expectations are to have good days, string good days together, and go out and compete at our highest level. And so we're always striving for that. So I'm not going to make predictions or have expectations other than on a daily basis to achieve what we hope to achieve that day. And we always fall short of it. There's never perfection, but that's always your goal. And you try to come back the next day and move to a higher level. That's what we've been doing since we arrived here. Well, that was the off-season training program, spring ball, training camp, and our daily practice out there. So we're going to continue to do that.
Back row on the right.
Michael Berkshire, ABC 11, two-part question. First, what communication have you had with recruits over the past week or so?
With who?
Recruits, commits.
Right. I think I just answered that question. We talk to them on a weekly basis. I was at a couple games this weekend. We had other coaches out. We talk to our players regularly. Not only our recruits, but also, as I said, others who are let's call it undecided. Some who have committed to us, which is a high number. We're somewhere around in the 40 range. But there are others who still are considering us along with other schools and haven't made a determination or commitment.
Can you walk us through the differences in recruiting high school players versus those in transfer portal? Are you looking for different traits or looking for fits in the system? What's kind of your
Yeah, we really want to build our team through high school recruits, kids that come here and spend their whole career here. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of those players on our team right now. There's only a small handful of them who were recruited here, who are starters, who are significant playtime players. So our foundation is as good as what we want it to be. I think the transfer portal is similar to NFL free agency, where you have players that are available that can help you support an area that maybe you're a little where you feel like that position can help your team. And we don't want to bring in as many transfer players as we brought in, but honestly, we needed to. We had to. They just weren't here, especially at certain positions where we just honestly couldn't even practice with what the roster looked like in December. So again, going forward, I think the picture will look quite different than what it looked like this year. But like that being said, we'll always look for players and people that will help our program regardless of where they come from, whether they're from another school or from high school or again internally here that just develop and become contributors. So we're in the business of developing players. That's what we've done. That's what we're going to continue to do. And Mike and his staff are looking everywhere for those players, not just talent, but the right kind of people and that have the right work ethic and team first attitude to bring into this program.
We got time for 3 more on the right, and then we'll finish up with 2 on the left. Go ahead, sir.
Coach, it had to be kind of funny, but did you realize that you were on her street during the game day or something?
I did not. He texted me and said, can we have a quick conversation about this? And I said, sure. And so I just dialed it, and of course he didn't answer. So yeah, but Kirk's great respect for him, and I've worked with him a number of times, and so no, I didn't realize he was on here. Yeah, no
Last 2 on the
problem.
left here. Third row. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kristen Severs. I run the documentary unit at Royale. I remember when you announced the Big Doc series, there was a lot of excitement about that. Who scrapped that project and why?
It's still a work in progress, and we're working through a few logistics on it. So no real update at this time, but there will be something.
There will be something.
Mm-hmm.
And then last
That
one.
doesn't compete with yours.
Ours, well,
The last one.
Sean Gallagher, WRAL. A lot of the criticisms of the last week have come from anonymous sources, people who fear retaliation from your program for speaking out about their experiences. What do you say about these anonymous sources who are speaking out about their experiences with their program? And are you looking for a leak?
Yeah, well, again, we're always looking to improve and upgrade anything that we're doing. So Again, I talk to, you know, people that go down on a regular basis, our staff, our players, captains meetings, and other people involved with the program. If there's something we can do to improve it and upgrade it, then, you know, we're gonna consider it and, you know, act on it if we feel like it's positive stuff, so, we're always looking at that.
Do you have an issue with people speaking out and not naming that it is them speaking anonymously?
Well, I mean, some of those, as I mentioned at the beginning here, some of those are not, just not credible, so, you know, I think it's up to you to decide which ones are and which ones aren't, but, you know, when those stories come down 2 days after they're posted, I mean, you have to decide how valid they are. That's your job.
You mentioned the buyout talk not being credible, you called it ridiculous earlier. Is there anything else off the top of your mind that you can refute?
Yeah. Again, it is what it is. You know, you guys have your job to do, and, you know, I'm gonna do mine the best I can, so just leave it at that.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.